Katie. First, I just want to say what a pleasure it is to be here with Congresswoman DeGette, who's been one of my heroes, because did I do something here? Because as the Affordable Care Act was going through, as stem cell research, as children's issues, Diana has always been there for children and continues. And this is something for as long as it's been in the legislature and in the state legislature when we worked together. Not only could we count on her for her vote, but she has always been a strong advocate in trying to reach across the aisle and get the votes of everyone who really is needed to make a difference for children. So let me just say a word about Every Child Matters. I'm on the National Board of Every Child Matters. Michael Petit is the president of the organization. And this is an organization that wants to give a voice for children. You know, there are a lot of different lobbying kind of organizations or pillars. There's the bankers and there's the oil producers. And if you look at those sectors, they're a very small proportion of the society. But if you look at the sectors that have to do with children to 18, and you think about all of the people involved in childcare and early childhood education and schools and health care, we're probably the largest block of people that are involved and committed to improving the lives of children. And what Every Child Matters wants to do is to reach out to this group and educate them about what are these key issues and motivate them to be involved in the political process in a way that's nonpartisan in terms of asking all of our candidates, regardless of whether they're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independent, whatever they are, how are you going to vote on these children's issues? And I think that that's the purpose. 3 months ago, I became a grandfather, the first little girl in 3 generations, because I'm 3 boys and I have 2 boys, and it's wonderful. and there's a very special relationship, especially with your first grandchild. And I believe that grandparents in this country care deeply about their grandchildren and about children's issues. So having the opportunity to bring grandparents and child advocates together to address these issues is critical. I just want to say that I think our country faces many challenges. You know, carbon dioxide levels continue to rise, and scientists are warning us of catastrophic consequences of inaction. The Boston Marathon bombings elevate the threats of both homegrown and foreign terrorism. The Sandy Hook Elementary School, the Aurora shooting, our high adolescent suicide rate, all highlight the problem of gun violence. Congress is grappling with immigration reform and border security. All of these are really important, but the greatest threat to the future of our country is receiving almost no attention in the media or the halls of Congress or our state legislature, and that is our growing rate of child poverty. 1 in 5 children lives below the federal poverty level in the United States, and almost 1 in 2 are poor or near poor. Children are the poorest members of our society. Poor children have increased infant mortality, increased frequency and severity of chronic diseases such as asthma, greater food insecurity with poor nutrition and growth, poorer access to quality health care, increased unintentional injury and mortality, poorer oral health, lower immunization rates, increased rates of obesity and its complications. Poverty in childhood creates a significant health burden in adulthood related to hypertension, heart disease, neurologic problems, and increased exposure to toxic stress due to the stress of being poor and the increased risk of abuse and neglect, as well as other forms of violence, cause actual structural alterations in the brain, long-term changes, increased inflammatory markers that contribute to a wide range of adult diseases. Children growing up in poverty have poorer educational outcomes, with poor academic achievement and lower rates of high school graduation. They have less positive social and emotional development, which in turn often leads to life trajectory-altering events, such as early unprotected sex and increased teen pregnancy, drug and alcohol abuse, increased criminal behavior as adolescents and as adults. And they are more likely to be poor adults with low productivity and low earnings. Our country can't afford the burden of this child poverty. And while the present situation is bleak, we can reduce the growth in child poverty and ameliorate its present and future burden on our society. Child poverty has known effective policy solutions, and the approach should target 3 areas. First, raise families out of poverty by raising the minimum wage, improving child tax credits, and strengthening the earned income tax credit. Our current tax policy provides more tax benefits and breaks to hedge fund managers and other wealthy individuals and politically powerful corporations than hard-working, poor and middle-class families. Second, provide high-quality early childhood programs and high-quality affordable child care to poor families. All 3- and 4-year-old poor and near-poor children should attend Head Start and Early Head Start. And third, support neighborhood revitalization initiatives. These are often called place-based initiatives. Now, while deficit reduction is important, we need a balanced approach that protects poor children and low-income families. Deficit reduction policies that slash spending for social programs needed to ameliorate the impact of child poverty will not protect future generations or the future of our democracy. Our country's economic and social future depends on human capital investments, even more than our energy investments or border security. We need policies that will better prepare all our children and youth, middle class and poor, white and non-white, urban and rural. All of our children must compete successfully in the global marketplace. Our country knows how to use policies and programs to raise its citizens out of poverty. 35% of seniors lived below the federal poverty level in 1959. But due to programs like Social Security, Medicare, only 9% of seniors are poor today. What the United States does for its seniors is clearly good and needs to be maintained. So why do we not also want to protect children from the life-altering effects of poverty? Thank you very much, and thank you for being here.